Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 112 of the Board Game Barrage podcast, coming at you live from Las Vegas.
Woo!
That's the sound they make here. It is after midnight.
Yeah.
When all the best
It's
BGB.
after 1 a.m.
No, it's not.
Oh,
It's
really?
12:02.
It feels like it.
Oh my gosh, that's great!
What?
It means the pizza will be here before.
Yes! I thought the pizza was going to get here at 1:50.
Yeah, we're eagerly anticipating room service. Oh, no, not even room service. Just
No, we have to go
delivery.
outside.
We have to go outside to get our
Someone
delivered
has to run
pizza.
out in the middle of this record to
And
grab
it's
a
cold.
pizza.
Pizza and 10 wings and a bucket of fries after we had all-you-can-eat sushi for dinner. Because it's Vegas, you know?
That's the sort of thing you do
Recklessly.
here. Yeah.
Gotta be reckless.
Yes.
Mark taught us that on day one.
Exactly.
You were saying something about that.
Yeah, I
What
was
do you
saying-
mean he was saying something about
About
that?
living
Literally
recklessly.
saying,
He was literally saying it be
Yeah,
reckless.
But what's
Yeah.
the context?
because we're in Vegas.
We're in Vegas. Be reckless.
Got it.
This week on the show, we are going to be talking about a bunch of games that we've been playing. Because, yeah, it's been 4 days.
What was the bunch joke?
It was
That
when
was
he
that.
couldn't. He was like he couldn't say it. He couldn't say it right.
Yeah.
Wait,
And he
didn't
just
say the
kept
word
saying-
bunch?
No.
He kept saying-
It was
kept
the
saying
Shucks
it.
recap. It was the Shucks
Yeah,
recap. He was like,
I kept
and
saying
we
it was fun.
we played a bunch of games. We're gonna talk about a
said
bunch
it
more
once
games.
I said it once in that tone. And
When did
Christina
this
just
happen?
lost it.
Kellen.
Recap
Yeah.
episode.
Where was I? Where was I?
You were there. We were all
there.
laughing. Remember? And Neelan was like, I'm trying.
I don't remember that.
Ow.
That never happened.
Do you see that blip on the laptop? Because that's going to hurt everyone's ears.
That was Neelan.
That was not me.
We're going to be talking about a bunch of games.
And we're gonna talk about a bunch more games.
Bunch.
Anyways, everybody else except for Kellen probably would remember that. If you remember and you think Kellen's dumb for not remembering, let us know on Discord. Anyways, all right. I think it was an outro. So if you don't remember, it just don't tell us that you didn't remember. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been 4 days of just playing board games here at Dice Tower West. And frankly, we're a little bit loopy. We're a little bit tired. We're
Has it been 4 days?
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday,
Saturday, Sunday.
Sunday nights.
No, okay.
Okay,
Whatever.
well, it's-
About 4.
Yeah, it feels
It's
like 4
fine.
days.
It's past 12.
It's almost 4. It's close enough to 4 days. We're rounding up to 4.
You would not believe how exhausting it is.
Yeah.
You would think, oh, sitting around playing board games. This is just calm and relaxing, but it's not.
This is a cry for help.
I just don't.
I'm not going to get any better. It's only getting worse. So if you don't like what you hear, kick me out right now.
What?
I'm just saying.
Oh,
this
you're not
is your
talking
warning.
to the listeners anymore. You're
Yeah,
telling us.
oh, yeah, sorry. I'm talking to Kellen.
Where would we kick you out to?
I mean, I could go to sleep right now.
In that bed right there?
Yeah.
While we're recording.
I'm so tired, I could literally fall asleep.
No, this
What
is
about
good.
the 1 pound of wings and the special
Kevin and I
surprise
just
fries?
I will wake up for the food, okay?
I see.
All right. Anyways, let's get on with it.
Yeah, let us
Okay.
try.
We've got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into the first game. Patreon subscribers will know that we've been playing Don't Get Got. And we've all, throughout the weekend, been getting got.
And getting.
And
And
getting
getting
got.
getting people
It's
got.
getting
people got.
Yes.
Yeah.
In Don't Get Got, there are a handful of tasks that each player is assigned randomly and secretly. They put them in a cute little yellow wallet, small enough to fit inside your real wallet, so that's important and helpful. You got to keep them secret. But anyways, the point is to get other players because we're all going to try to get each other to do dumb things. And some of them are just everyday things. Some of them might be double fist bump. Some of them might be get somebody to look at 3 different places in the same day. That sounds really easy, but you just never know when it's coming. So that's kind of the crux of this game is you're paranoid. You're constantly wondering, is this person trying to... It was within 5 minutes of starting to play this game that we were second-guessing literally everything that everyone was doing.
I just unplugged the fridge, the mini fridge, to make sure that we don't hear the woo in the background. How'd I do?
That's producing right there.
That's producing, yeah. I didn't hear the woo.
Yeah, only I could hear this micro.
Oh, because the headphones. You heard it through the headphones? The ooh.
No, because I'm sitting right by the mini fridge.
All right. Did I explain it? Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's the gist.
So, Kellen interrupted me. Where was I? That's basically it. You're just trying to get people to do funny things, and then you scream at them, you got, or even better is gotcha, because that's really funny. We had a lot of good moments. This is a game that you can play over a period of time. You can play while you're playing other games, which is exactly what we've been doing. We started our first game in the car and the road trip to Dice Tower West, and we've been playing all weekend. We've restarted a couple different games.
Patreon listeners will get to hear some of the highlights of the first day.
Yeah,
as we drove in.
We had some booms, some big booms. Before we start talking about this game, just to let everyone know, there are some spoilers in terms of what different types of tasks there are. So if you don't want to play this game, I mean, there are probably hundreds of different tasks, so we're not going to go over all of them, obviously, but we're going to talk about a few funny examples. So if you want to skip this and avoid the spoilers, now's your chance. But what do you guys think of Don't Get Got?
Well, I thought it was funny you were mentioning that it makes you paranoid for the entire trip. And one of the first ones that I got accomplished was I noticed Kellen was sitting on the sidewalk, and one of mine was to try to get somebody to help me up, sit down on the floor and get somebody to help me up. So I just sat down next to Kellen, I was chatting with him, and then he got up, we were moving on, and I asked him to help me up, and then...
Like a classy gentleman.
But... he got. So I got him got. And Christina was saying that one thing that she doesn't really like about it, although there's no penalty for getting got. So I never really cared about getting got.
But it feels so bad getting got.
Right. So it
makes you want to not be helpful.
Not be helpful, right. Yeah.
But Neelan can tell you a great example of how I love being helpful. Go ahead, Neelan.
Yeah, Kellen helping Mark up was infuriating for me because, so throughout the whole day, one of my tasks was to drop something in front of another player and have them pick it up for you. And if they did that, you got them. So I've been dropping things in front of Kellen all day, and his blunt sort of refusal to be helpful whatsoever was getting me nowhere. Until by accident, I dropped something in front of Christina, and I thought, oh, this might actually pay off. And Christina immediately picked it up, like within seconds, and hands it to me.
So I think what's important to remember is that this game, the paranoia that it leads to, where Mark keeps trying to get you to high-five him, and you're wondering, is that the game, or is Mark just being Mark, or what's... If someone makes an errant or a weird comment... you immediately assume it has something to do with the game, and you don't want to reply to them.
Right. Yeah.
You almost, it chills a little bit of conversation and leads to giggling and kind of like looking at each other a little bit. So at no point did I notice that Neelan had dropped anything.
Right.
So it wasn't like I noticed he was dropping stuff like clumsy old Neelan. And I was like, oh, he's probably playing the game. I had never noticed. And like, I love the idea of him like... trying to get me to be helpful at any point throughout an entire day, and it just never happened.
Failing, yeah.
Kellen was good at obfuscating what he was trying to get you to do, because he would say something and like point at something at the same time, and you're like, he's trying to get us to say something, and we're all thinking like, what could it be? It turns out it had nothing to do with saying something, but it was still wrapped up in that same experience. So I think that was like a smart, clever thing that I didn't try anything like that. You don't like being complimented? It feels weird?
It is unusual for you.
Well, you have to compliment Kellen's big
performance.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Should Kellen tell it?
Yeah,
Should we tell it?
So, one of my cards was to spill water all over my pants. That you...
Specifically? Not just your pants.
Oh, specifically in the crotchal region. And to then get someone to make a joke or to say or to insinuate that you...
It was not to insinuate. It had to be say.
But...
Because we were insinuating all around it.
And to get another player to say something about you having an accident. So
he had this. Can I take over? Because it was just. I don't think you're doing it justice.
Sure,
so there was this brilliant performance, and I say this because it was. I've never seen him do anything like it. It was like better than the Resistance, better than Diplomacy.
Best Shadow. 2020.
But it was also awkward. Okay, so anyways, he gets up. He's like, does anybody want water? I'm like, oh yeah, sure. He brings me back. He's carrying 2 waters. As he sits down, he's like fumbling with the waters. And then he jumps up and he screams a curse word. I won't say it on air. 2 curse words, actually.
Wait, you remember the curse word?
I remember both of them, yeah.
Wow. heartfelt performance.
And his face was just like, I can't believe this happened. And we all looked like, oh my gosh, how did that happen? He literally spilled water, like not a little bit. A full
8
cup,
ounces.
a full 8 ounces of water all over his lap.
In his crotchal region.
In the crotchal region. And he had this look on his face that I can only describe as manic.
Yes, I agree.
Like this wild look in his eyes. And I was just sitting there like, how is this? I must not understand what this feels like. Like, what is he going through
You're
right
being
now?
empathetic.
Yeah, I was trying to fit, and I was like, oh my, but we were laughing too. So we were like, oh, we're so sorry, but we're laughing. And he just keeps standing up to show us. And we're like, oh, ha ha ha. What, if you go to the bathroom, you know what people are going to think. And he's like, but what will they think? And we just laugh. We're like, ha ha, you know what they're going to think. Ha ha. He's like, and he looks me in the eyes with his wild look. And he's like, but Christina, what will they think happened? And I was like, that you had an accident, obviously. And he screams like the entire convention looked at us. Yeah. Gotcha! Everybody looked at us, and then I cried. I laughed for another 5 minutes. I was annoying Mike DeLisio because he was trying to teach us a game, and I couldn't stop crying. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry. Go on. Take over again.
I like to think of the convention goers, though, who hear the scream of gotcha and turn around and see a man standing
pointing at his crotch.
I was so tense.
I think it's one of those things where I was so invested in it, right? Because I spilled the water and then I'm like, wow, now I'm in this. And then no one said anything. And I was just like looking at you guys and just desperately hoping.
There was a desperation in your eyes.
But that was desperation mixed with, that fear. When you're lying in the Resistance or in a game like Battlestar Galactica, there's that tension that twists inside you, like, am I actually going to get away with this? Am I going to get away with this? That turned out to be, in the words of Mike DeLisio, a golden opportunity. What I think is even funnier than this is that, this is about 8 p.m. on a Friday night at the convention, and I proceeded to not use the bathroom for the next 3 hours while my jeans dried because I was worried. I did get up at one point and pass some friends of the podcast, Ruel, and a couple other people and I made sure to tell every single one of those people that we were playing Don't Get Got, that my mission was to spill water on my pants, sort of all the way to the bathroom. So that's kind of the aftermath of what happened to me.
So, I am not a good actress. I tried about as hard, maybe harder than Kellen, on one of my missions, and I just failed so miserably that I ended up screaming at the end of the night. How could you? Anyways, I'll start from the beginning. So, my mission was change your ringtone and get somebody to comment on it. And, in this day and age, who has a ringtone? We all have, all of our phones are on silent. And so I'm thinking, it's like, okay, well, this, I guess it could work to my advantage because I never have a ringtone. So maybe they'll notice that it's a ringtone. And I'm like, but it has to stand out. It has to be something really noticeable. So earlier in the day, part of one of Kellen's challenges, he kept saying big bottles, big bottle, big bottle, big bottle, big bottle. And then, and so
big bottle.
And so then it turned into a meme, of course, and then we turned it into big booty, big booty, big booty, big booty, big booty. Apparently it's a song. I didn't know the song, but I made an excuse, left the convention to come up to my hotel room, and immediately started Googling big booty songs. There were some inappropriate videos that I ended up seeing, but I eventually found what I was looking for. There's apparently a Jennifer Lopez video about big booties. I would not recommend the video if you have children anywhere in the vicinity. It is quite aggressive. Anyways, so I paused the video, like 30 seconds in. You only need 30 seconds for a ringtone. I learned a lot about ringtones because I spent probably about 30 minutes researching how to cheat your way into turning a song on your phone into a ringtone. I do all the right steps. I'm watching all these YouTube tutorials. I download so many things, and it just, in the end, there's one thing that doesn't work out. So I switch to another tactic. I download an app. I go through all the steps, all these different tutorials. Again, one glitch at the end. It's like, okay, that's not going to work. I ended up deleting a bunch of photos on my phone to make room for this. I paid $5 for the app. And then turns out you can just go to the iTunes store and buy a ringtone. Why didn't Google tell me that first? I Googled like 6 different combinations of this question. That never came up. Anyways, so I end up buying for $1.50 Big Booty by Jennifer Lopez and Iggy Azalea or whatever to be my ringtone. And I was so excited. I called my sister. I was like, listen, I need your help. You need to call me exactly when I text you and say, call me. And I tell her the song, she's laughing, and I'm like, you don't understand. It's going to be so loud. The whole convention is going to hear it, and they're going to look, and they're going to be like, big booty. Who would have such a filthy ringtone? And everybody would comment on it, and I'm imagining, and they'd be like, what? That's from Kellen's Big Bottle, Big Booty. I just had this whole thing played out in my head. It was going to be so perfect. I go down. I'm so nervous. Mark's teaching me a game. I can't even focus. I'm shaking with nerves. I'm waiting for my sister. I had already texted her, waiting for her to call. I have it on full volume. And then, big booty. She got a big booty. That's not even the right tone. I don't know how it goes. But it is loud. It's ringing. I swear, all of these guys... Mark kind of looked at my phone. He's like, hey, your phone's ringing. And then kept playing, kept teaching the rules. And Kellen kind of glanced up and looked back down. It was as if it was a normal ringtone. It was as if nothing happened. And so I tried 6 more times. I was like, okay, call back in 5 more minutes. I put it near Kellen. I had texted my mom. I'm like, Mom, Nicole's busy. Can you call me a few times? My mom called. She was all happy. Did it work? And Kellen was like, can you turn that off? He was so annoyed. And then my last thing, I hid the phone. I was like, Kellen, I can't find my phone anywhere. Can you call it? He calls it, big booty, big booty, big booty, big booty. She got a big booty. Nothing. No reaction. And then that's when I exploded. How could you think I would have this ringtone, a big booty ringtone? Why would that be my ringtone? Anyways, that's
going to do it for the podcast.
That's the whole
As always, thanks to Heart Society for our... So not only did you spend an hour and a half trying to do this and spend $6.50 and roped 3 innocent people into calling you, but didn't get anybody got.
Failed the mission.
So just to steer us back on course from that 8-minute monologue, do we recommend Don't Get Got?
Yes. Wholeheartedly, from Christina Blue Tank.
The tough part is that I think it's going to be so hard to find circumstances in which you'll be able to play it, because I don't think you can play it at a game night.
Yeah.
Because generally at a game night, you're there to only play a couple of games. You're not generally there for more than 5 or 6 hours tops, and those hours are mainly comprised of playing games. This has to be something where you're going to be walking around, interacting with people for a day. So at a birthday party...
I can think of 6 instances where you could use it.
Okay, go ahead.
Wedding. Weekend.
Wedding?
Sure, why not? You're a guest at a wedding. You don't really care. Okay. Wedding. Weekend getaway. Birthday. If you live with more than 3 people, play it over the weekend.
Sure, I agree with that. Yeah, if you have roommates, sure.
If you have roommates, or if you have a family, the whole family can get in on it. One of them, well, I guess we shouldn't give any more away, but there are some, domestic things.
I also had this thought that it might be fun to do with work colleagues.
That's true.
I think the thing that the game demands is just a variety of situations that you're in over a long course of time. I don't think that should eliminate it from your consideration, but be aware of the sort of environment you need to have in order to make this game work. You might get your kicks out of it for a little bit and then see it through, but I think it was worth it. The highs were worth it for us.
Yeah, absolutely. You may be in a circumstance that it works for you where you have roommates or you're living with family or you feel comfortable playing this with work colleagues, although I don't know if that's going to work all the time. But I'd also say that the best way to play this game, I think, is just very liberal with the rules interpretations. There are a lot of tasks where the goal is a little ambiguous, and I just think erring on the side of just the most fun is probably the way to play it. But we definitely, I think we can all agree we had fun. It enhanced our trip.
Yeah,
I think without a doubt.
It does strike me that, specifically, I worked in a liquid vitamin factory warehouse, and that would actually have been great to play with coworkers throughout the work week, because we were constantly playing pranks on each other, and this is sort of a formalized method to do that.
Right.
And that is Don't Get Got from Big Potato Games.
Another game we played with Daniel, friend of the site, he taught us Kemet. I say taught us. Mark and I have played it before. Kellen's played it once before, but Christina, this was your first time playing it.
My first play.
Kemet is the second in what's sort of considered Madigo's trilogy of Dudes on the Map games. That's Cyclades, Kemet, and Inish. So we were playing this with the newish 1.5 rules. So these are updated rules that were released online mostly, I guess. And we were also playing with some elements from the Tarsetti expansion, which I had actually never done before.
Neither have I.
Kemet is one of my favorite games. I believe it's also in Mark's top 50.
Yeah.
It had been a long time since either of us had played it, and we'd both spoken excitedly about playing it with Kellen and Christina at some point. So yeah, I was jazzed to do this, and we played a 5-player game of it, and I think it went pretty well for me, at least. I enjoyed our play of it. Christina, what were your first impression thoughts of Kemet?
Yeah, so I would say my hot take was that I like it a lot. I typically like this type of game, and I think it was right up there with all of the games that I like. I'm not going to rank them as I was asked to because I need to get a few more plays in first, but I thought it was interesting and unique how it was kind of like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like in Cthulhu Wars, there's asymmetrical player powers. And in this, it was kind of like you got to build your own asymmetrical powers. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's kind of how it felt to me because it's like you're figuring out what you want to focus on. You have this wealth of options in terms of different tiles that you want to buy and kind of like build up your own combos, which I really liked. I didn't do very well in my first game, but I had a ton of fun playing it. And even like hearing the rules, I was just like, giddy. Like, I don't know. I just really, really liked everything about it, honestly. But I mean, again, that's my hot take. I need to play it a few more times.
I think you're right about the power tiles. Like, I mean, that specifically is the thing I like the most about Kemet because it's the best realization of what and I call like a video game tech tree, where you're building specific combinations down a path. You have like the level 1 powers. You might be building towards a level 2 power, level 3 power on one of 3 different whole subgroups of powers. And what you end up with at the end of the game is a unique combination that is unique to you because those towers are 1 per player for the most part. So this does lead to some issues potentially where you have to be keeping track of what everyone's powers are. But I'd never felt like it's too much to parse. It's not egregious in that.
Right. Yeah, there is a little bit of, not being sure where other people stand, but I think it is easy enough to ask and figure it out. To your point about the tech tree tiles and how asymmetric and sort of cool they are, I think every time somebody bought a tile, I just felt bad because I was convinced that it was going to be like their key to success, which is of course not the case.
Yeah, because it's about how you use it.
Yeah.
I can see how it would be hard to pay exact attention, but I feel like everything was simple enough in the rule set that you didn't have to pay attention to too many things at once. So it was not too difficult to pay attention to what other people were focusing on. And it became kind of evident because somebody would take a specific route and you'd be like, okay, Mark's doing the big army approach, expanded army approach. Kellen's doing the everything costs less approach. You know what I mean? So I feel like that it didn't strike me as, oh, that's the pizza.
Oh my gosh.
Hello? Hi, are you here? Okay, perfect. We'll meet you there.
So, as always, I will adopt the contrarian position on the podcast. I think it's important when we're talking about Dudes on a Map games to talk about them in the context of it being one of, if not my favorite genre of board games. And so I think Kemet is a fine game, but I do struggle with it in comparison to many of the other heavyweights in the category, including Cthulhu Wars, Inish, Blood Rage. For me, Kemet is good but not incredible. I think that previously I've cited the tech tree as being something really hard to parse from far away and requiring a lot of memorization. Daniel, the person we were playing it with, had gotten these binder sleeves that were similar to like what you would store baseball cards or Pokemon cards in them. And that was helpful to sort of pass around when you needed it, but also had printed out player aids for every individual person. That was a booklet of all the power tiles available. And that strikes me as a good solution for an inelegant mechanism, which is fine. But more than anything else, in this game of Kemet, what stuck out to me was how much teleportation there was happening on the board. There's a lot of monoliths on the board that you can teleport to. So all the places you want to go, you can teleport to from your home base for what functions to be 2 action points. And so a lot of the game revolved around building up units in your home territory and then teleporting somewhere at the most opportune moment, which honestly is fine. I don't think it's bad. It just doesn't feel like a Dudes on a Map game to me with that sense of progression and progress as you move out and expand across the Empire. It feels more like tactical airstrikes, like the game could be rethemed like Operation Desert Strike. I'm actually not kidding. That's what I was thinking of while we were playing.
Interesting.
I think the abstract nature of the map is definitely something I will not contend. It's not a game that has what I would call geography. Like, everyone's base is equidistant from everyone else's base. It's a mathematical construct more than it is a map. I think that is a fair criticism. It's not one that bugs me specifically. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. That is Kemet by Madigo Games. Kellen, what have you been playing?
Hobby Japan is the company that made Rumble Nation, which is a game that I have been extremely hot on and have played here at the con and really enjoyed. Another game that they released on Kickstarter that I picked up here at the convention, actually, in the virtual flea market, is Master of Respect. Now, this is one that Mike Delisio, a friend of the podcast, who we call Mike Delicious, aka the Fandango Tank, has been recommending for a while, so we wanted to check it out, and we had a great time playing a game with him. In Master of Respect, you're building out a dojo of students who are helping you acquire gold and sake as you build out victory points. But what's interesting is that you have what are called respect tokens. And so when other players take actions, you can pay them respect in order to follow that action. It feels very reminiscent of following actions in Glory to Rome, where as people upgrade their powers and abilities, you go, oh, I'm definitely going to be following that next time. But you have a limited resource of these respect tokens. It is also pretty funny to tell someone that you're paying them respect, or you respect the action that they have taken, and you hand them a little token.
Or when you say, does anyone respect me? And nobody answers you.
That is true. It also has an interesting little puzzle where you are putting out a card and then you are using these tiles and you have to pre-program what you're doing for the whole turn. Each tile has two sides to it, and so you're having to make little decisions before you go, and then by the end of the round, you've usually made the wrong decision and hijinks have ensued. It's very hard to plan it out too far, given that you are paying respect to other players and getting to use their abilities in the middle of your turn. So there's sort of this pre-planning phase. You play out the rounds, you pay respect, you're upgrading things, getting new powers, and everyone has some end-of-game conditions that they're looking to try to get to. It's a very light, very simple game that I think is helped a lot by the theme, but it plays pretty quickly in probably under an hour. It's inoffensive, it's light, it's a game night game, but one that I enjoy and I'm happy to have in my collection. What do you guys think of Master of Respect?
Yeah, I liked it. It does feel sort of, I would say it's maybe a little heavier than light, because that following mechanism it feels like more than a light mechanic for a game. And also, it's a pretty tight game. I mean, not super tight, but the number of actions you can do per turn requires you to acquire more students and acquire more technique tiles. And you only have 3, maybe 4 actions in a turn. So half of your turn or more, if you're going to maintain an engine where you're having 3 or 4 actions a turn, require you to get these students and techniques. And I just felt tight in that way. It felt like I was always trying to make sure I had 3 or 4 actions, and that felt like a bit of a struggle. And the other thing in regards to tightness is you have these cards that can be upgraded. All your students can be upgraded, but really I think for the most part, their upgraded powers weren't that much better than their regular powers. But the reason you do need to upgrade them all is because if you don't, instead of getting victory points for your students, you're often getting a bunch of negative points. So the unupgraded side are generally like negative points, -2 points, -3 points. And then when you flip them, when you upgrade them and flip them, they'll go from -3 to like a +3. So there's a big swing for upgrading your people, and that's like a set of actions you have to make sure you do before the end of the game. So I felt it was tight, not overly tight, and moves really fast. So yeah, I also enjoyed it.
Definitely felt tight, but it never felt like punishing.
That's true. No, exactly.
And it never felt overwhelming.
Right.
Like I think it was very easy to figure out what you needed and how to get there very quickly. So to me, there was a low barrier to entry. It was just like you take the first round to kind of get the lay of the land, and then you're like, okay, I get it. I know exactly what to do. And you can set it all up, and it's not super punishing even if you don't do exactly the right thing.
And there's always that sort of buffer you have if you're not sure you'll be able to have enough actions. If you spend enough turns building up these respect tokens, you can generally be confident that you'll be able to follow enough players and sort of make up for what you couldn't do, right?
The one thing I did like, and this maybe is a little bit understated in the game, but it's a system I like. It's a little bit reminiscent of something like Isle of Skye, where there's this element of price setting, where if you want to make an action appealing to other people, but they have to weigh that against what you're going to benefit by them taking it. So it's like, where you can pair a strong action, but is it worth it if I'm also going to get points for it? That was cool, but in all honesty, like I thought it was fine. It didn't particularly excite me, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting thing that we didn't touch upon, Neelan, where you get rewarded for people paying you respect, and then you also get even more rewarded if you can correctly predict where people will be paying you respect, because you can align the technique tile with the dojo student, and together that rewards you for having placed them appropriately.
Right.
So for me, Hobby Japan is a publisher of note for me, and now I'm going to kind of, probably it's on my to-do list when I get home, is look through some of their other releases, see what they have upcoming. You know, you don't have to tell me twice to look at a publisher coming out of Japan.
We had a Hobby Japan doubleheader with Delicio. We played both Rumble Nation and this with him. He taught this to us. So,
And then we taught him Rumble Nation.
That's right.
We taught him how to
rumble.
How to
In the
get
nation
got.
of Japan.
Yeah, he got pretty hard.
He did get got.
Yeah. But I barely won that one, remember?
Ugh. Okay, next game.
No, because that was another incident of me saying, "Oh, I don't know, maybe it'll
Yeah,
go one way,"
yeah.
and all of you guys were like,
Because you were lying. You were lying.
"I was
Okay.
not lying."
Next game. Next.
That
What's
didn't-
next?
Okay. Yeah.
Move it along. It's late. Let's go.
Before we move on to more games we've been playing, we're at Dice Hour West, so let's give some quick thoughts about the convention. We've been here for 3 days. What are some of your guys' quick highlights, good takeaways from the show? Anything that spoke to you?
I've had a really good time. I think we've used this convention's game library more than any convention we've ever been to. Part of that is it's got a pretty good library. There's a lot of new games, and the check-in and check-out process is great. The size of the convention also lends itself to being able to check in and check out games pretty regularly. It is very much a gamers convention. It is a convention where you don't have a lot of exhibition booths and panels. There are a couple of ones that seem like they were pretty cool. Rado was in town, and Tom had a segment with him, which seemed like it'd be interesting. But for the most part, yeah, I just thought it was very much a gamers convention. It's what it was sort of sold to me as, and I think it held up in that respect.
Yeah, I don't know if this is just the way that we're doing it, but it has seemed much more open and kind of free scheduled than other conventions, in the sense that I feel like at other times, other conventions, we would have a wake-up call and have to rush to something and then rush to something else. And that's fun in its own way as well. And this was more we're just going to play games for 4 days.
Right.
And there's something kind of nice and simple and sweet about that.
I think, honestly, I think you may be selling the library a little short, just in the sense that, when you compare it to, even Gen Con, we're paying tickets to try to get into the hot games room that is usually too full.
I forgot that Gen Con charges you for that.
Yeah, to even let you in, and then when you get in there, they're coming around every hour to try to kick you out.
That's true. Yeah, that's a very good point.
And it's a separate location from the rest of the library.
And so this, it's almost like the game library is the convention.
Yeah, I agree. That's fair.
And so, it's easy access. It's all organized very well. We were playing games that had upgraded components in them and 3D printed things. I think it's very clear that Tom is taking the duty of librarian very seriously for this game library. And there's multiple copies of games that are being checked out a lot, and I think they're pruning and changing it basically every convention.
Yeah.
And so it's been fun just sort of browsing the shelves and finding one and going, hey, I've been hearing about that lately, and then trying to learn it and play it.
Everything we checked out was also in really, really good condition.
Yeah. Well cared for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that is great about this environment as well is because it's a big open space with a lot of people playing games. So if you're sitting down, a lot of people are walking past and seeing you and sort of eager to play games with you. We ran into a lot of people from the Discord, the listeners of the show. So Geeky Granger from our Discord, Hans Lee of We're the Opponent, and his gang, they were playing games with them all weekend.
Yeah,
It was
Ruel
great.
from the 5x we got to play with, Delicio, as we said, we got to play with, Daniel. So yeah, it was really fun to be able to meet up with and play games with a whole bunch of listeners.
What was the anecdote, Mark, where we're in the elevator? Mark and I were going to the virtual flea market, and we had too many bags of games.
Oh, right.
We kept missing we kept going, we'll wait. And then finally some people were like, no, just cram in, we'll get in there. And we crammed in. Mark almost didn't make it.
Yeah, barely fit. I was carrying a backpack and 2 big IKEA bags for the games.
And then we got into the elevator, and then someone was like, oh, Mark and Kellen.
Yeah, right. I recognize your voices.
I recognize your voices. And then we get off the elevator, and he's like, so which one of you is close to the KFC?
Right. Yeah, exactly. That was crazy. It was really, really cool.
So, for example, I know Shut Up and Sit Down recently reviewed the game A War of Whispers, and it's been extremely hard for anyone to pick up a copy because it's sold out everywhere. There's a copy of that in the Dice Tower library with beautiful Kickstarter components and 3D printed upgrades, what appear to be 3D printed upgrades for the game. So we were able to play a game of that, which is something that we've been eager to try. I don't know that we're going to give it a full review here, as we've only played it the one time, but I don't know that it is a game for us. It is...
Seems to do some interesting things, but I'm not sure if it hits it quite for us, at least on first blush.
Yeah, something about the novelty of the idea of, influencing these asymmetric armies is interesting, but yeah, I think we all had some issues with it.
But yeah, that is War of Whispers. If you're interested in a 1 hour-ish secret influence sort of game where you're not controlling an army, but you are influencing what is going on the board.
Okay, Christina, I think there's something you're dying to talk about.
Yep.
I'm kind of losing steam.
No, this will get you back. This will get you going. This will get you going. Think you back to playing.
I'm trying. Okay, so as I am now, I was losing steam toward the end of yesterday. We'd had a long day, a lot of fun games, a lot of getting got, and then I was like,
brought out the sugar.
Well, there was some sugar. I was like, I can't do a single. I need a break. I just needed from the noise. Even I needed some silence. I was just gonna go up and read. Right. I was standing up, and Mark was like, well, I do have this one game, and he pulls out this kind of a small square box. And there's a heart in the middle, and it's called Hearts of Attraction.
Hearts of Attraction. There's a capitalized A in the middle.
I think that was a printing error, but who could say?
And there's a see-through heart on the cover.
Yeah. And I said, well, I'm intrigued, but is it fast? And he just kind of laughs, and he opens the box, and just in one pulls out a train of connected magnet hearts, and I was like, okay, I'm in. I sit down, and we get to work. This is a very cute, small dexterity game. It's another flicking game. We love our flicking games, where the board, the table starts out with a few scattered hearts, and they're all magnets. And you know how magnets go. One side is opposing, and one is attracted. So we thought it would be really, really easy. We're like, oh, haha, this game's going to end in 2 minutes. We start flicking, and the first couple, it's like, okay. And then we're flicking, and they're just bouncing off of each other in this kind of magical way.
We should explain how you actually... what you're trying to do in the game.
Yeah. So the goal of the game is to get as many hearts, to get the most hearts of all of the players. So you're flicking into the center in this conglomerate of kind of separated magnet hearts. And if you can flick your magnet and it connects and they kind of go clink, 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 clink.
They clump up.
They clump up, and if you can connect them in a clump of 4, that's amazing. You get to take that whole cluster. If you make 2 clusters, you can only take 1 of them. But still, let me tell you, even getting a single cluster is quite an achievement, at least for us. We ended up playing this game for, 35 minutes?
So I think, 30 minutes, something like that, yeah.
Because we just couldn't stop playing. It never ended because we would get
Wait, sorry. We couldn't stop playing, and it never ended. Those are very two disparate thoughts. Could we not stop playing, or could we not stop playing because we couldn't get the game
No,
to
it was
end?
both.
Great.
Well,
Okay.
for some of us,
Great.
it wouldn't end, but we didn't care. We didn't want it to end. We were having
It
It was
so
the
much
center
fun.
of attention.
Some of us,
People
yes.
were coming
Yeah.
by,
We were-
asking what we were doing.
People were like, "Where did you get this game?
That's right.
What is this?"
At least, 2 or 3 people were just asking us what it was.
Probably because we were howling in laughter. It's just so funny because it never ends, and because you think you're doing so well, and you'll have a cluster of 8 magnets, and then all of a sudden you're down to 0 because you just can't seem to connect any. Anyways, somebody else talk.
Yeah, if you want a game where, through no fault of your own, because
Oh my
you
God.
can't tell which side of the magnet is polarized, is that? No.
Yeah,
which side of the
that
magnet?
works.
Magnetized.
Magnetized, yeah, I guess so.
The polarized would be the polar.
Yeah, anyways.
Polarized works, I think.
Which, if you want a game where you can't tell which side of is it plus or minus?
Positive, negative.
Which side of the magnet is positive or negatively attracted to the magnets that you're flicking it against. So you could flick it, and then it goes perfectly aligned, and you could do the exact same shot, and they literally repel off of each other.
Kellen,
Well, wouldn't it be nice if life worked out where you can always see the negative and the positive of attraction? But that's not how the law of attraction works, Kellen.
if I had painted the negative side red and the positive side blue, do you think you would have done it any better? Do you think that was the crucial bit?
No,
your lack of knowledge on which side
problem
of
is that we were playing on 2 tables connected, and I was on the lower table.
I was on the lower table and I won the game.
You did not win the game.
I did win the game.
So Neelan and I were on the better side of the table because we were on the higher end. And the second they brought it up, Neelan and I were like, oh, no, it's just a ramp. It launches and we would not let up. We were 100% like, no, you guys have an advantage. You have a ramp. You're launching it was every time the ramp got in the way, we were just like, oh, the ramp, it's such a good ramp.
Okay, how much did you trade? How did you get this?
I traded, I think,
Great.
the equivalent of like $5 for it.
Great. Was it worth $5?
It was worth 10 times.
I agree.
10 times?
I would pay.
You would pay $50
I would pay $50 for
US
this.
dollars?
Hearts of Attraction is not leaving my collection.
Ever.
Kalis, I'm about to sell, but Hearts of Attraction is not leaving my collection.
Wow, wow, wow.
Wow, wow, wow.
Bow, wow, wow.
Okay, wait. I got to figure out how to prove this to you in money. It's absurd.
What? Prove what to me in money?
I don't know.
Because if I trade this away, the chances are I'm not going to get
You're
it back.
never going to get it back.
It's priceless.
Yeah,
Just about. Pretty close.
There's one copy of this, and Mark has it.
That's right.
What if... Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let me finish. For Valentine's Day, which has already passed, we each get to paint one of the hearts.
I love it.
And then write our name on it, like sign it.
I love it. Perfect.
And then it would be worth maybe $50.
All right. So yeah, we loved Hearts of Attraction.
I left her. You're all right. Is like keep moving on.
Yeah, like let's
next
get the
one.
show on the
We're
road.
done. Yeah, it's over. It's
somebody
basic.
needs bedtime. Also, did you guys notice we were recording at 1:12, and that's what episode this is?
There you go.
I looked at the clock right at 1:12, and I said, "Oh," but I didn't want to interrupt whoever was talking.
It's a sign.
That this podcast will live forever. No,
I don't know.
I didn't know how to end it.
I want to talk about what I think was among the biggest hits of the show for us. One of Uwe Rosenberg's newest games. This is Nova Luna. Nova Luna is a tile placing game that sort of harkens to Patchwork with its timing system. What you're doing in Nova Luna is you've got a wheel with something like 12 slots in it. Each of the slots has a tile that has one of 4 or 5 colors. And each of the tiles, in addition to having a color, has these little recipes on it. So you might have like a red tile that has 3 yellow dots on it. What that means is when you place that tile on the board, you want 3 yellow tiles connected to it orthogonally. So you're acquiring tiles and you're placing them on the board orthogonally next to each other with the idea that you want them to sort of connect and fulfill these recipes. As you fulfill the recipes, you place a token on the tile, and the goal of the game is to be the first person out, having fulfilled whatever number of recipes is required. The patchwork timing aspect comes into effect when you take a tile off the board. There's a number assigned to it, and whatever that number is, you move around the dial that many spaces. So if I took a tile that was assigned 6, I'd move my tile 6 spaces down the board. And the way that the turn order works is the person who's last on this dial takes a turn.
Yeah, so essentially, if Mark is 6 spaces ahead of me, and I take a 2 tile and then a 3 tile, I'm going to get to go 3 times before Mark gets to go again.
Right.
In a 2-player scenario. And so the game is all about these incremental moments of evaluating the next 3 tiles for what's going to be the best for your grid, but what also helps you from a time perspective, because if you land on top of someone, you actually get to go before them. So there's a lot of min-maxing in terms of where you want to end up on the time track.
Right. Sometimes you see that perfect tile that you can pick up, but it's got like a 7 on it, and you know you're sacrificing a couple turns to pick that up because your opponents will be able to get multiple turns before you get back to it. What do you guys think of Nova Luna?
I love this. I was not skeptical is not the right word, but inquisitive, I guess, when Kellen described it as having a patchwork-like mechanism. I love patchwork, and that timing mechanism is specifically what I like about it. That trade-off of efficiency versus value is the heart of this. And it doesn't seem that apparent until you get towards the end of the game when suddenly you realize, okay, this person is 2 tokens away from winning. Now I can't afford to give up time to them and allow them to take multiple tiles before me. And those finishing moments just felt like so vital and so crucial, and all your planning that you've been doing up to that point, so it just comes to a head. I really dug this.
Yeah, I really liked it too. I was in the heat of my don't get got stress with the whole phone situation during the teach of this game.
Oh, is that why you didn't realize? Oh, that's hilarious.
I was trying to do 2 don't get gots at the same time. Anyways, so I was having a really hard time visualizing how these puzzles were even like on one. I was like, wait, I just for whatever reason having a hard time visualizing it, and so I didn't do very well. But I still loved it. I would play this game right now.
Right
as
now?
tired
No,
as
you
we
wouldn't.
are.
Yeah.
I want to play it 6 more times.
I think even one of the refreshing things, which may seem like nothing, but it's not, is the concept that the game ends when someone places their last token. So it isn't build a little puzzle and then score, 57, 54, and 52. It's like a constant mark. Oh no, Mark only has 3 more he has to place. I've got 4, but if I found the perfect tile, I could make 4 hit right now and win the game, and the game stops right then. I thought this was really, really good. For me, Patchwork has always been middling for a couple of reasons. One, I don't usually do 2-player, and this accommodates 2 to 4 very well. We've played it, I think, at almost all the player counts now. It's
3 and 4,
kind of been one we just keep bringing with us around the convention. In addition to that, it's not a Tetramino style puzzle, which I'm not very good at. It's a little bit more tactical, I think, than that, because you're building around and your potential options each turn are quite limited.
And for a convention where we've tried to pick up and learn a bunch of games that we were unfamiliar with and try to get them on the table, we grabbed the box for this, read the rules, and we're going within about 15 minutes. So that was really refreshing to just be able to sit down and play it fairly quickly.
You could thank the one who is also able
And
to just get the rules.
Nova Forma.
That's it.
Nova Luna. Is that what it's called? New Moon?
There's
Oh, it's
no
called
acknowledgement of...
What is this
teacher.
Is this making fun of my rules? Is that what this is?
No, Mark was like, the game is so great because
Yeah.
it's so easy to learn.
I mean-
but he also was taught it by a master.
Here, I'm going to give you, here's my respect token. I give you respect.
I think it has nothing to do with the teacher. Am I right? Or
What
am
do
I
you-
wrong? Am I right or am I wrong, Colin?
Okay,
I think you're
did
right.
you reveal how many rule books you've read in your lifetime
No,
today?
I did not. I just answer. Am I right or am I wrong? Am I right or am I wrong?
You're not wrong, you're just an...
It's like a
God
tiger in a
damn
rubber
it.
cage.
Oh, you're trying to get me?
Wait, what?
She's trying to don't get got me. She
Wait,
thinks I'm gonna get got.
Wait,
She
what?
keeps saying
Live.
the same question.
I know.
Guess what, Christina?
What?
You just got got! You just got got!
Christina! got.
Coming at you like, guess what?
Guess what?
Live from room 13.
Oh, my
That's
God.
not fair.
Oh my God.
It had to happen at least once.
Security is
on the
going to get
episode.
called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Can't top that.
Yeah. And that's going to do it for this episode. That's about the best way that could possibly end. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to everyone who taught us games, who played games with us this weekend. We hugely appreciate it. Thank you to all of our listeners. And thank you, as always, to Heart Society for our intro and outro music. What's in Your Mind, Kid? From their album Wake the Queens. Goodbye.
We played a bunch more games than that, too, just so
A
everyone
bunch more games.
And we're going to talk about a bunch more of them.
Later.
A bunch. Good night.
Bye.
Hello and welcome to the Board Game Barrage podcast, a podcast about board games, the latest hotness, and how to have fun with your friends even when you're losing.
16-inch pizza's good?
Each?
No, total.
Just split.
How much is 16 inches?
Who could say?
About that big a pizza.
What are we getting? Which one?
We can get a cheese pizza, we can get a pepperoni.
Something normal-ish.
Yeah, we can just get a cheese pizza, 4 cheese pizza.
Elon, what do you think?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
No pepperoni?
Yeah, that's too much. Pepperoni lovers pizza, I don't know what that means.
Extra pepperoni, I don't know.
That means we're pepperoni
You
lovers.
just add pepperoni to a 4-cheese pizza if that's what we're...
Yeah.
I mean, but we might as well just get a pepperoni lovers
Well,
pizza.
but that implies that they're putting a lot more stuff on.
That's true.
I guess I don't know what's on that. That's not pepperoni.
Is there no
Okay.
way? Yeah, that's.
Talk. Are we recording?
What was our song?
Typify.
Don't we have a new song? All right, I am going to adjust the gain just a smidgen down.
Okay, tell me when you need to check.
Because Christina's
Too loud?
gonna blow us out. It's gonna get blown out.
Okay, just give me a 1, 2, 3, go.
Yeah, you're good.
Check it. 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3. Wow, na. Mark,
Yeah, we're
you
right.
guys supposed to jump in there.
We're in it. We're in it to win it. And let me take this off because
It's toasty in
this
here.
is even bad.
And it's toasty in here. Toasty.
You know how we could record
What?
to get the least sound of clothing.
What? Kellen!
Killing Ellen.
Clothing optional.
BGB Between the Sheets is back.
I am not participating.
Oh, now you're not participating, huh? Hello.
Well, she was just 17.
You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah,
If you-
we're ready. We're ready. Let's do it.
Okay, go ahead, Neelan.
Thank you.
Do you want to have the?
So the way that Don't Get Got.
Oh, I thought I was
I'm
explaining it.
sorry. Good point. Christina, tell us about. Actually, you can just jump in.
Oh, no, introduce me. Introduce me.
What? Okay. But why?
What do you mean
You always
introduce you?
introduce people.
But like
Neelan, what have you been playing this week? You guys always do that.
Oh yeah. Sure.
She has like an approximation of what we do.
No, I don't. Okay,
You know,
fine.
like-
I will tell you about Don't Get Got. So, should I clap so you know when to edit?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I just get to it.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's the cut for you, Mark.
Gotcha. Appreciate that.
Okay, so it in Cthulhu Wars everyone has in Cthulhu Wars. Okay, since you're the host, can you lead us into this
Yeah.
topic?
Okay, I'll do that, Christina. That's good advice. I like it. That's good thinking.
I'm tired. So in Cthulhu Wars everyone has in Cthulhu Wars